I mean, these are incredibly brave men and women who are going to go into that building right now and try and do that. John, as to the second tower, the tower that was hit second, which is my understanding is the South Tower, that does not appear to have broken out into the uncontrolled fire that we've seen elsewhere, or has it? Do you have a vantage point on that at all? I'm on the southwest corner of that building, across Liberty Street and West Streets, looking up at it, and there's a massive hole out of the south portion of that south building. Then there's smoke also now coming out of the other side of the building, I can see, and flames. And so, yes, it does look like the firefighters are going to have the same trouble with this building, which is smoke, extraordinary damage, followed by what looks now like a fire that they're going to have to contend with many dozens of floors up. And the second attack, the attack on the South Tower, who knows? The attackers are almost certainly dead. They were in the plane. They were either in command of the plane, or one way or another. They were either flying it or they were holding a gun to someone's head. They're dead. But it appeared the attack on the second tower was aimed quite a bit lower than on the first tower, and would therefore create much more of a zone, because fire naturally tends to travel up. That's correct, Mark. It is the hole that I see, at least, out of the south side of the building, which I believed was the exiting wound to the building. Not the entry point of the building. If you're looking at the south side, that would be the exit point, yes. That's right, because I saw, as I was waiting to speak with you, I saw this explosion go out from the south side of the building, so it likely entered the other side. Right. It is, as you point out, several floors below the other structural damage to the building, to the North Tower. But the flames, so far, while I can see them in the South Tower, they're nowhere near as intense and as engulfing as they are on the North Tower. Yeah, that's what we're looking at on TV, and I just want to make sure that, we are only seeing roughly half of the surface of each building as we look from one direction. But the South Tower, so far, does not appear to have broken out in the kind of raging fire in the North Tower. And again, at times like these, I just marvel at firefighters who are actually going to go up there. They're climbing right now and risking their lives to fight this thing. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Alina.
Quickly, I want to add here that we're just getting from Dow Jones, which is consistent with our earlier reports from NBC and other sources, that it was an American Airlines 767, American Airlines 767 from Boston, involved in the World Trade Center crash. I'm assuming, very large airplane. I'm assuming that's the first. We're talking about the first crash there. And that is consistent with earlier reports. Again, Dow Jones is reporting that an American Airlines 767 from Boston was involved in the crash. Okay, we're going to go back to WNBC Channel 4, which is working the scene on the street below. Let's join their coverage for a moment.
It's nothing like I've ever seen. Nothing like anybody here in New York has ever seen either. That's the scene here from Prince and Worcester Street, and we'll talk to some other people as time goes on.
Joe, you are not close enough to... Okay, apparently Joe cannot hear us, so thank you, Joe. We appreciate that. Obviously, we are, again, trying to ferret out all the information we can about exactly what happened in Lower Manhattan this morning. The president has said it was a terrorist attack. There were 2 airplanes involved. Dozens of eyewitnesses have told us that. One of them appeared to be bigger than the other. The second bigger than the other. And we all witnessed it right here on live television. Caught us all completely off guard. A normal work day here in Manhattan has come to a standstill. We've been told that the subway lines 1, 2, 3, and 9 have been shut down. All the Hudson River crossings have been shut down. The New York Stock Exchange has closed down for the day. And right now, a lot of people are just stunned in shock. Again, 2 airplanes, 2 separate incidents, minutes apart, crashing into both towers of the World Trade Center. And you certainly see the result as far as the structural damage. I mean, it is major. And as you said, President Bush said that this is an apparent terrorist attack. We expect to hear from Mayor Giuliani in just a couple of minutes. Governor Pataki is in town. As a matter of fact, he does have an office in the World Trade Center, but President Bush says that he has talked to the governor. Right. So as far as we know, the governor is okay. And like I said, we should hear from Mayor Giuliani in the next couple of minutes. But again, to reiterate, we know nothing about what happened to the people who work on those in those floors, in those buildings. So we are simply waiting to find out about injuries and casualties, if indeed that's what happened. So you were looking at a scene that one would wish you could never witness in a city like this.
Of course, this is the second major attack on the World Trade Center. There was the bombing back in 1993. And, of course, that was at the bottom. And the top of the building, obviously very vulnerable, and we certainly witnessed that today.
Right, with all the security changes that they've made on the bottom, so nobody can get up there without the right kind of clearance. But it's vulnerable to attack by air.
Absolutely, you can't stop it up there.
We are going to once again go to Katie McGee, because as we've been telling you, the city is literally at a standstill. No one's being allowed in from any of the river crossings. And the subway lines have been shut down in that area, and the airports are all closed. Katie, what more can you tell us?
Jane, this is the latest. The city at this point is at a standstill. All three major area airports, LaGuardia, Kennedy, and Newark, are closed at this point to all incoming and outgoing traffic. All bridges and tunnels. No one is letting any traffic head into town. At this point, outbound, you are going to find some people. We just saw some folks that had been sitting in one of the tubes coming out of the Lincoln Tunnel. They were allowed out, but now everybody being turned away. We also saw a backup down near Canal Street waiting to get into the outbound Holland. Those people also being turned away. At this point, again, no one being allowed to head into the city. For all intents and purposes, all train service suspended is what we're hearing at this point. Police are saying, please leave the city if you can. Of course, this is rough because of the way traffic is right now. You really, really want to steer clear of anywhere south of Midtown. And again, everyone right now being turned away. We saw traffic trying to get into the Lincoln Tunnel, actually turning around and backing up buses, New Jersey Transit buses, bringing people back into New Jersey, never even making it close to the entrance to the Lincoln Tunnel.
Katie, what do you think right now would probably be the best way to get out of Manhattan? Probably head up the FDR and the West Side Highway?
At this point, you're going to want to try and get as north as possible. I can see from one of my cameras live right now the westbound Cross Bronx heading in towards the outbound George Washington Bridge. Traffic is an absolute crawl right now, but they are letting you get onto the bridge and, from what it looks like, come in over it and back into New Jersey. I do see traffic coming outbound George Washington Bridge, inbound again, completely stopped. If you were planning on heading into the city, even if you think you may still have a meeting, at this point, again, you're being advised to please stay where you are.
For example, if you lived in New Jersey, your best bet probably would be go through Westchester County, cross the Tappan Zee Bridge, and come back down?
You may want to try that out. Let me take a look right now and see how my Tappan Zee Bridge camera looks. Just bear with me for 1 second, and I'll tell you. Actually, it looks like right now, traffic heading into Westchester is moving, but it's at a crawl. Again, at this point, things are happening so rapidly. If you were to leave home in Westchester right now, I can't tell you you'd definitely be able to get into town in another half an hour, 40 minutes or so.
Well.
All right, we are back with CNBC programming. What you have been watching is WNBC programming. Nick, what was that last message you gave me?
There's a fire at the Pentagon.
There are now reports of a fire at the Pentagon. This is the Pentagon.
Oh my goodness.
You are looking at the Pentagon. The United States has been attacked. Forces unknown.
And look at the fire at the bottom.
The White House is ordering an immediate evacuation of the White House.
Mark, the AP, Alina, is reporting an aircraft has crashed into the Pentagon. Witnesses say, being cited by the Associated Press, an aircraft has crashed into the Pentagon. That on the AP, according to witnesses.
According to NBC's Jim Miklashevsky, he is reporting a bomb detonated at the heliport at the Pentagon. Not sure if this is separate from that or in addition.
Must be in addition to, because this is the building involved right here. Someone, and frankly, I'm surprised that they got through to the Pentagon, because that's an area where if a plane starts to approach, they can shoot them down. New York is a different area. New York is vulnerable to this kind of thing because, there's traffic all the time and there's nothing you can do. This, however, the Pentagon and, of course, nearby the White House are no-fly zones, and but somehow someone has managed to do a great deal of damage to the Pentagon, which is the world's largest office building and obviously the seat of the military power of the United States. And On the left, you are looking at the seat of the economic power of the United States.